Anyways, you're watching Physics Girl, and I want to get right to the money shot for fall into a black hole. I showed this footage to a bunch of friends, and no one knew what was going on. So I have to set this up for you. I visited the YouTube space in LA to film with my friend William Osman, who I did the recent sand fluidization video with. It was so fun. William had gotten some time on the high-speed camera, and so given some time with the Phantom, what else would you film besides ferrofluid? For the uninitiated, and how could there still be any of you left? Ferrofluid is an oily substance that sticks very strongly to magnets. I warned the guys very sternly to keep the ferrofluid far from the magnets until we were ready to use it because it's so easy to accidentally get it stuck on the magnet.
Oh, the unthinkable happened. Well, it could be better. I got an idea. What if I try to soak up stuff on the other side? Oh, no.
Yeah, it'll just take a lot of paper towels. But it's got some really fun properties.
Oh, it's going right through the paper towel.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Whoa. It's like slamming it into the...
Yeah. And you can make it sing.
You can just, they're like flying off.
Yeah. But most importantly, it forms these unbelievably crazy spikes in the presence of a magnetic field. And so I wanted to drop the ferrofluid to watch the splashing dynamics with and without the magnet. Okay, it's time for the footage. But wait, it's a little confusing what you're looking at. Unbelievably crazy spikes in the presence of a magnetic field. And so I wanted to drop the ferrofluid to watch the splashing dynamics with and without the magnet. Okay, it's time for the footage. But wait, it's a little confusing what you're looking at in these shots, so let me explain the setup real quick. We dropped the ferrofluid onto a styrofoam plate, but in a few cases there was a strong neodymium magnet underneath the plate, and in a few there wasn't. I'll make it clear which is which. Now the footage. But as you watch, something strange is gonna happen, so I wanna see if you can catch it, so I'm not gonna tell you what to look for. Okay, here you go. The beauty of physics. Did you see it? Tell me what you saw down there in the comments. Maybe you saw something that I didn't notice. We saw this.
Oh wait, are you saying like the drop is getting stretched out?
Yeah, it gets elongated.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
Okay, that's
I was
really
wondering,
weird.
the droplet becomes elongated like a football, the American kind, or like a grain of rice, the international kind. Isn't that weird? The magnet is pulling on the entire droplet, so you could imagine that the droplet would get compressed. But as you know, the closer you are to a magnet, the stronger the attraction. The magnet is pulling on the bottom of the droplet harder than on the top of the droplet, so the bottom is actually falling faster than the top. I wish that we had tested a water droplet next to the ferrofluid droplet so that you could see that the ferrofluid is not in free fall, it's actually going faster than free fall, and it would zoom right past a normal water droplet. Ugh. Next time. Okay, so the top of the droplet can't keep up with the bottom of the droplet because it's not accelerating as fast, which means the entire droplet gets stretched out. Okay, now let's use our imagination. If you swap out the magnet for the moon and the droplet for Earth, you get a situation that describes exactly why we have tides. So if you think about it, the Earth is essentially falling towards the moon because of gravity, but they don't ever actually collide because the moon is moving so fast sideways that it's in orbit. So the moon's gravity pulls on different regions of Earth differently and pulls harder on the oceans closer to the moon than on the Earth itself, which makes this happen, right? Not quite, right? Because there are 2 tides in a day. This is not intuitive. Okay, let's do this. Let's replace Earth with me and 2 unsuspecting members of my family. Gravitational forces, like magnetic forces, depend on distance. The further away from the moon, the weaker the force will be. So the force on dad is the weakest, the force on me is meh, and the force on mom is the strongest. As time passes, mom will reach the moon much faster. Let's see that now from Earth's, or our perspective. The distance increases between me and my parents, so the high tides are just like high school graduation. They are the result of one tide being pulled away from the Earth, which is being pulled away from the other polar tide. So Earth's water gets pushed down from the poles onto the sides of the Earth. So if you imagine the oceans as a ferrofluid droplet encasing the Earth, that droplet gets elongated, and where it's elongated is where the high tides happen. One more crazy thing about tidal forces. That's the name that we give these gravitational forces that are a differential strength across a body and cause differential pulling. The tidal forces from a black hole are strong. They're so strong that the difference between the forces on your head and your feet would be enough to pull you apart. This unfortunate circumstance has been termed spaghettification. And we're seeing spaghettification in action with the ferrofluid. How crazy is that? Epic black hole death modeled right there at the YouTube space. Okay, enough about my love for playing with ferrofluid. People have gotten real creative with the actual uses of ferrofluid in industry. For example, it could be used as a construction material inside your eyeball. The idea is that you would guide the ferrofluid using a magnet inside your body to patch a hole in the retina or something. Again, this is a proposed use. This is not something happening at your local doctor's office. I've been obsessed with fluid dynamics lately. I actually just went to a fluid dynamics research conference, and a couple of you guys came and said hi. Thank you if you said hi to me, but the reaction was mostly like, what are you doing here? I just wanted to see the research, okay? It's interesting stuff. But what I realized at this conference is that there's so much more research than you would expect that goes into droplets and splashing dynamics. Okay, that's all I've got for splashes and ferrofluid. Or is it? I couldn't help myself. I set up my high-speed little camera and dropped a bunch of things to watch them splash, so please listen to these fun announcements while watching crazy footage of droplets. Physics Girl has been accepting subtitle submissions. Thank you so much to those of you who have reached out and submitted subtitles already. If you speak another language, you can submit translations for subtitles using the link in the description. Thanks to John for filming at the YouTube space, and to Cameron Esikoff for operating the Phantom camera. And William also filmed a video while we were there. They dropped their year-old trailer park gingerbread creation, and we filmed that in slow motion. Check it out. I'll put a link to his channel and that video in the description. Thank you for making physics a part of your day, and happy physicsing. I'm trying out different slogans. I don't know. I think it's time for a new one. Happy physicsing just makes no sense. Okay, that's all. Except thank you to Curiosity Stream for supporting PB. And happy physicsing. We were there. They dropped their year-old trailer park. Thanks to Bill and Melinda Gates for supporting PBS Digital Studios. Robert, are you ready? So this is Robert. He's my roommate.
Hi.
He also happens to be a physicist. So Robert, this is my device, co-designed and made by Kyle. Have you heard of a shake weight?
I have not heard of what?
You shake it like this and get a good workout.
All right.
Yeah. So we modified this shake weight so that there's a magnet connected to a rod, and the magnet goes back and forth between this coil of wire, and the coil is connected to an LED so that, do you want to try it?
All right, I'll try it.
Okay, hold on.
Why are you putting on saving?
Oh, do you see it?
Yep.
It's working! Thank you for demonstrating. In your expert opinion, how cool is this invention?
It's definitely very pretty, especially here with the reflecting surfaces.
Oh, that came with the shake weight. Okay, thank you, Robert. I think he liked it. The purpose of this modified shake weight is to see how much electrical energy we can make using electromagnetic induction and starting out with kinetic energy. But then the last thing I want to figure out is how long would it take using this device to produce enough energy to power a house for an entire day? I'm gonna need a way to measure the energy. You guys know that I'm pretty excited about science. I want us to send things to Mars, and not just things that rhyme with Mars. Elon. But also, I want us to be responsible Earthlings. If we want to curb our carbon emissions, we're gonna have to change the way that we produce and use energy. Here's my contribution. I promise this is all gonna tie back together later in the video, but in the meantime, now we need a way to figure out how much power we're outputting with this. I'm gonna replace the LED with a resistor and an Arduino that I've programmed to show the voltage across the resistor. Ha! Resistors. And then we can use that voltage in the resistor to figure out the power. Now, the way that we're getting power is the cool part here. The only thing we have is a coil of wire and a permanent neodymium magnet on a rod going back and forth through the PVC pipe. And now Lenz's law here tells us that when you have a changing magnetic field like that of a moving permanent magnet, you can induce an electromotive force in a coil of wire. An electromotive force is like it pushes the electricity. In our case, the electricity can flow, so we get a current in the coil. That's what lights up the LED. There's no battery, no outlet, no source of power besides what we've made here. Time to pretend I know what I'm doing. Yeah, it works. I made this. Go talk with the more scripted, organized Diana about clean energy and then come back. So, I care a lot about this issue of clean energy and where it comes from. Or at least that's what I say. Now, if I really cared, I would be an expert on the subject, right? So I had this idea to quiz myself with questions about the clean energy industry and where we stand in our progress. But I swear I came up with the questions off the top of my head and I didn't do any research before I answered them. This is a dangerous thing to do on the internet. I totally suggest that you play along, and I would love it if you put your answers in the comments. Okay, first question. What percentage of energy in the US comes from clean energy? I think this is the most important question. I guessed 35%. I don't even know if that's low or high. I don't know. The answer is 10% of US energy, 15% of US electricity is from renewables. Ooh. Okay, the difference in numbers here, the 10% versus the 15%, comes from the fact that not all of our energy is used toward 29% of all of our energy. To worry about Whoa, 1990s, what were you doing? But yeah, okay, this is good news. Let's compare the two graphs. So this means that I underestimated clean energy in the early decades because I forgot about hydroelectric. But looking at the present day, we're making progress much faster than I thought. Look at that slope! Yeah, that's good. It means that we're making quick progress in the technology. Okay, the last question that I didn't guess, but I looked up because I was curious during this quiz is how much energy are we using total in the United States? Again, we've got transportation, we've got industry, we've got all these different sectors using energy. In the US, we use 28 trillion kilowatt hours per year. Ugh. And that's gonna go up by 20% by 2040. So it's gonna be 35 trillion kilowatt hours per year. Whew. That's 80 trillion kilowatt hours per day. That's 80 billion people playing Mario Kart for 10 hours a day. We don't even have 80 billion people on the planet. These are mind-boggling numbers. And finally, if you shake the shake weight flashlight, you can produce, okay, final calculation. The average power produced by the shake weight is, drumroll, 0.004 watts. So given that a house uses 30 kilowatt hours a day, it would take 7,500,000 hours to produce enough energy to power a house for a day. What? 7.5 million. That's 312,000 days. 856 years of constantly shaking the shake weight to produce energy for every single waking minute of your day. Well, I give up. So I'd say that the biggest surprise to me was the magnitude of these numbers and how little electricity I was able to produce with the shake weight. Of course, most of it was going into heating up my muscles. It wasn't a very efficient system. And obviously, I was way too optimistic on our progress so far toward clean energy, but I was a lot less optimistic on the trend that we've made. So that means that we're making progress fast, and we can make progress fast. And with minds like yours, creative minds that are working to improve clean energy technologies, to come up with new ways of improving renewable. Gates for supporting PBS Digital Studios. As I'm sure you know, Bill and Melinda Gates